The Galactic Academy's combat theory classroom hummed with the usual pre-lecture chatter. Maya sat in her assigned seat, reviewing her neural interface notes on Dravaxian fighting techniques. Around her, the amphitheater-style room buzzed with alien cadets from a dozen different species, their chittering, clicking, and harmonic vocalizations creating a symphony of interstellar discourse. William entered late, as usual, his boots echoing against the polished neutronium floor. The human cadet carried himself with that peculiar Earth confidence that so many species found either endearing or irritating. Today, judging by the hostile glares from the Vrex contingent in the back row, it was decidedly the latter. "Instructor Zalthar hasn't arrived yet," Maya said without looking up as William slid into the seat beside her. She could always sense his presence, something about the particular rhythm of human movement, the specific heat signature their bodies radiated. "Traffic in the transit tubes," William replied, dropping his data slate onto the desk with a careless clatter that made the nearby Quilaxi cadet flinch. Some Metharian's atmospheric suit sprung a leak. Whole section had to decompress. Before Maya could respond, a guttural voice cut through the classroom noise. "Perhaps the human should return to his primitive world if he cannot arrive punctually." Craddock stood in the aisle, all 8 feet of Vrex muscle and chitin. His species had dominated the outer rim for 3 centuries before humanity's arrival, and they hadn't taken kindly to the newcomer's rapid advancement through galactic society. Behind him, 9 other Vrex cadets rose from their seats, forming an imposing wall of exoskeletal warriors. William turned slowly, and Maya saw that dangerous smile cross his face, the one that meant he'd already calculated 7 different ways to end this confrontation. "Craddock," William said pleasantly, still upset about last week's tactical simulation. The Vrex commander's mandibles clacked in fury. During the previous exercise, William had managed to kill Craddock's entire squad using nothing but environmental manipulation and a broken comm unit. It had been brilliant. It had also been humiliating for the Vrex. "That simulation was flawed," Craddock hissed. "Your species' penchant for deception." "Strategy," William corrected, "is not true warrior skill." Maya set down her data slate. She'd seen this scenario play out before on Earth in the training compounds of New Geneva. Testosterone, or its alien equivalents, about to boil over. The Academy had strict rules about unauthorized combat, but those rules assumed rational actors. The Vrex weren't known for backing down. "William," she said quietly, using the tone she'd developed specifically for talking him away from ledges both literal and metaphorical. He ignored her. Of course he did. "The Academy's combat instructors seem to disagree with your assessment, Craddock. Unless you'd like to demonstrate true warrior skill yourself." William stood, and Maya calculated the mass differential. Craddock outweighed him by at least 200 kilograms. The Vrex commander's thorax plates flared, a challenge display. Around the classroom, other cadets scrambled for the exits. The Quilaxi moved first, their herd instincts screaming danger. The Centaurians followed, their multiple eyes giving them perfect peripheral vision to track all 10 Vrex warriors simultaneously. Maya remained seated. Someone needed to witness this accurately for the inevitable inquiry board. 10 against 1 seems poor odds," William observed. "For you, I mean." Craddock struck without warning, or what he considered without warning. To Maya's enhanced perception, tracking at 240 frames per second thanks to her neural implants, she saw William's weight shift a full 0.3 seconds before the Vrex's primary arm lashed out. William wasn't where the strike landed. He dropped into a slide that carried him under Craddock's guard, one hand snapping out to strike the vulnerable joint where the Vrex's leg plating met his hip section. The human's fist carried all his momentum behind it, focused through a surface area of barely 3 square centimeters. Chitin cracked with a sound like breaking ceramics. Craddock's leg buckled, and William was already moving, rolling past as two more Vrex rushed in from the flanks. They'd trained for pack hunting. Their species evolved as pursuit predators on a high-gravity world. Their tactics were sound. Their tactics weren't designed for humans. William came up between them, using their own mass against them. He grabbed the first Vrex's arm and pivoted, redirecting the alien's charge directly into his packmate. 200 kilograms of armored warrior met 200 kilograms of armored warrior at a combined velocity of roughly 8 meters per second. The physics were unkind. Both Vrex went down in a tangle of limbs and cursing. Maya's combat analysis subroutines logged it as a textbook application of momentum transfer, something humans had been perfecting since they were throwing rocks at mammoths. The remaining 7 Vrex showed more caution, spreading into a loose formation that would make them harder to turn against each other. They'd learned. That was unfortunate for them, because it meant William would have to actually fight rather than just redirect. He preferred fighting. The first Vrex who closed made a critical error. He telegraphed his strike pattern, his plates rattling in a rhythm that signaled aggression in Vrex body language. William read it like a book and stepped into the strike rather than away, accepting a glancing blow against his shoulder in exchange for getting inside the Vrex's guard. What happened next took 2.7 seconds. William's elbow drove into the Vrex's throat, precisely where their hardened thorax plates didn't quite meet. The alien's respiratory system, already operating on the edge in the Academy's standard oxygen-nitrogen mix, seized. As the Vrex struggled for air, William used him as a pivot point, swinging around to drive both boots into another attacker's center mass. The kick launched William backward. Newton's third law didn't make exceptions for bravado, but he'd planned for it, tucking into a roll that brought him up next to one of the classroom's support pillars. When the next Vrex charged, William waited until the last possible microsecond before sidestepping. Chiton met neutronium at high velocity. The pillar won. 5 left standing. Maya noted that William's breathing had elevated only slightly, his heart rate climbing but still well within human combat parameters. The Vrex, designed for quick bursts of speed rather than endurance, were already showing signs of fatigue. Their homeworld's higher gravity had given them strength, but Earth's evolutionary pressures had given humans something else: the ability to just keep going. Persistence hunting, humanity's oldest trick. William didn't wait for them to recover. He launched himself at the nearest pair, feinting toward one before driving his full body weight into a low tackle against the other. They hit the ground together, but William controlled the fall, landing on top with his knee positioned perfectly against the Vrex's secondary nerve cluster. Pressure point strikes weren't exclusive to humans, but humans had spent millennia perfecting them against their own species. The fact that Vrex neurology was close enough for it to work anyway was just bonus. 1 down, 4 to go. The remaining Vrex had learned something important. They couldn't match this human's combat efficiency, so they tried to overwhelm him with pure numbers, all 4 rushing simultaneously from different vectors. It almost worked. William took hits, a strike to his ribs that Maya heard crack even from her seat, a claw that opened a gash across his forearm, spraying red blood across the pristine floor. But he kept moving, kept turning every strike into an opportunity. He grabbed an arm and hyperextended it. He used a Vrex's own leg as a lever to flip them over. He targeted joints, nerve clusters, and respiratory systems with surgical precision. And then it was over. 10 Vrex cadets lay scattered across the classroom in various states of consciousness and pain. William stood in the center, blood dripping from his arm, ribs radiating pain with every breath, but standing nonetheless. "Still think humans lack warrior skill?" he asked the groaning Craddock. Maya finally stood, walking calmly to William's side. She pulled a medical kit from her bag. She'd learned to carry one specifically for occasions like this, and began wrapping his arm. You know you'll be facing a disciplinary board, she said. Worth it. You could have de-escalated. Where's the fun in that? She sighed but couldn't quite hide the smile. Humans. Impossible, irrational, and somehow still breathing when logic said they shouldn't be. The door hissed open, and Instructor Zalther entered, his Metherian suit gleaming. He took in the scene: 10 unconscious Vreks, 1 bleeding human, 1 exasperated Maya, and his translator emitted something that might have been a sigh. Let me guess, he said, they started it. Absolutely, William confirmed, wincing as Maya pulled the bandage tight. Detention, both of you. Maya, you're guilty of enabling. I didn't do anything. Exactly. As the medical drones arrived to collect the Vrek's casualties, Maya reflected on the peculiar nature of her human friend. Earth had joined the galactic community barely 50 years ago, and already its people were making their mark, not through superior technology or ancient wisdom, but through sheer, bloody-minded refusal to accept that the odds weren't in their favor. Humans didn't calculate survival probabilities and adjust accordingly. They adjusted the probabilities through applied stubbornness. Next time, Maya said, maybe just accept the insult and move on. William grinned, blood on his teeth. What's next time? She knew there would be a next time. There was always a next time with humans. That's what made them simultaneously the most frustrating and most fascinating species in the galaxy.